Hey, how's it going? This week we read some of Aristotle's works. The main ones we focused on was mostly categories and then um, metaphysics and on the soul. Um, I think that the overarching theme for these is kind of clarify how we think and speak, particularly on being, existence, or the soul. Um, this book categories. The name is pretty self-explanatory. It talks about how do we categorize living things, and that there's a link between how we describe the world, how we describe it, and how it actually just is, how it exists. Aristotle says that everything fits into these 10 categories. Really, it's kind of nine um, categories of things, and the first one's a little separate. So the categories he gives are substance, quantity, quality, relation, place, time, position, state, action, and affection. There's this idea of substance versus accident. That being, substance is just what is, like us. A human would be the substance, or I guess the subject, and accident is the kind of the terms that you can apply upon that. As you notice, the other nine, 2 through 10 subjects are um, things that can be applied, whether that's um, a person in relation to something else, a quantity of things, the current physical position it's in, things like that. Things can, he goes on to say that things can change category depending on the context, which is a pretty interesting point that we may view something one way, but depending on the context that it's in, we could fit it into different categories. This metaphysics kind of it's more on this idea of substance. Aristotle seems to be the kind of the opposite of Plato in the sense that Plato is more start with our intellect or the soul, and that will kind of explain the senses, whereas Aristotle is start with the physical, what is in front of you, the senses, and that will help you understand the intangible. The big thing about metaphysics is this idea of cause. Aristotle gives four kind of causes, and that's material, formal, efficient, and final causes. But the one of the questions, what is metaphysics, is um, as simple as I can put it, is trying to explain existence, basically trying to explain what is and why it is. I know that's kind of a vague way to describe it, but that's I don't have a lot of time. um, and then this last book is more on the soul, and Aristotle differs from Plato here um, in his idea of what the soul is, in the sense that we read that Plato kind of views them as two separate things, and that the being and the soul are kind of connected but not one, whereas Aristotle seems to believe that the soul and the body are more intertwined. So, why is it important to understand how to describe our world? I don't have a direct answer for a lot of these topics, but more so just kind of thought provoking. Why is it important to be able to describe our world? Just like we said earlier, Aristotle says that, um, or he kind of talks on the fact that being able, how we describe the world has a big effect on what it is. I immediately think that, you know, uh, oh, well, I won't let something affect me, or uh, this won't hurt my feelings if I don't let it get to me. That kind of thing of how we perceive things, how we describe things are going to change physically how they affect us and mentally how they affect us. And one interesting point that he brings up is um, that the form of things, um, this is kind of in this causality, one of those being the formal cause, which is literally the physical arrangement of the material that is at hand. The form describes things, it makes things what they are. Different things made of the same material can have different forms. So this would be, if you took clay, you could make it into a ball, and you would call that a ball that is made out of clay, but you can take that same clay and make it into a triangle or a square, and then what we would describe it as is different, but what it is made of is the same. Things have the potential or potency, I believe is the word that he uses, to become other things. One example of this is fruit has the potential to become a tree, saying that this fruit, this apple or this orange, it is right now in the form of an a fruit, but the cause can be a greater purpose for it to achieve that being its highest form of purpose can be this this fruit tree. So then I think, what about us? What is our potential or our highest form? This kind of brings in the question of creation and origin to me, where I think Aristotle seems to agree that things exist in of themselves, like humans are unique kind of substances. They can be affected by what he describes as accidents or these other categories, but they are unique in their own right. That humans kind of are separate, or the soul, or the being, or existence is this separate idea than some of these other things. So a couple of my questions are, like I just said, what is this highest form um, of us that, for us, I think that as Christians we relate it to um, being more spiritually led. Our highest form is the closer that we can be in relation to God, or how devoted we can be. But for some of these philosophers, is this highest form enlightenment about understanding philosophy, or is it even death? That is what our cause is. That's our end point. And my last question is, why do people have a disdain for the God of the Bible, or really God in general nowadays, when these well respected philosophers keep coming to the same conclusion that there must be a force kind of outside of existence or outside of these laws that is the beginning of all things? So, thank you.